Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Roman, the true football fan, once again back with you guys. And this is my Transformers Age of Extinction movie review. I was going to think about doing a football video, but it's 3:30 in the morning. I finally have a chance to talk about Transformers. I just saw the first premiere here in Arizona at 9 o'clock p.m. The movie's 2 hours and 45 minutes long. My brother was on the computer when I got back, and he finally just got off 3 hours later from when I got back. So, I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm really, really tired. I don't know if my voice is going to give out. But I'm pretty much just going to talk about Transformers and what I thought about the movie, the positives, the negatives, what I thought could have been better, and what I expect from future Transformer films. Because we all know it's going to be... It was basically like a reboot of the trilogy, but not only a reboot, but a sequel reboot thing. So, this is going to be spoiler-filled. If you enjoy spoilers and like to spoil the movie for yourself, go ahead and watch the video. But if you don't like listening to spoilers, go ahead and exit out of this video. But first things first, before I went to go go see Transformers Age of Extinction, I decided, well, I've got some extra time and I want to be in line for 2 hours and 10 minutes. I was like, let me just go ahead and run into Barnes & Nobles real quick and get a book that people have been talking about. And one of my favorite movie, I guess you could say like movie analyst, Christian Harloff of Smojno, AMC Movie Talk, and a Far, Far Away podcast that you can find on iTunes. So basically, Christian Harloff, he is a huge Star Wars fan. I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan myself. I don't know everything. I don't know like everything in depth about Star Wars. But he said, you know what? Go ahead. You know, my favorite character is Darth Plagueis. And he constantly talks about Darth Plagueis in his Far, Far Away podcast. Even when he doesn't mean to talk about Darth Plagueis, it slips out of his mouth. And every time he says Darth, if he means to say Darth Maul or Darth Vader or Darth Sidious, he says Darth Plagueis because he just loves the character so much and he cannot stop talking about him. And, you know, week after week, he's always saying, I love this character. This character's amazing. The story, everything, it's just incredible. And, you know, I've been reading some reviews from other people, talking to a few people that have read the story about Darth Plagueis before, and they were like, it's an incredible story, you need to buy it. So I was like, you know what, with all the hype, why don't I go out and pick up Darth Plagueis myself? So pretty much here it is. Excuse my computer screen. I really need to fix that. But here it is, Darth Plagueis, right here. Finally picked it up. I've been hearing great things. I thought about picking up Darth Bane as well, but I could not find the first book at Barnes & Nobles. I'll probably have to order that online, but here it is. I'm pretty excited to read it. I'm really starting to get into Star Wars more and more. Thanks to Christian and Tiffany Smith, and Ken Knapsack themselves on their Far, Far Away podcast. Each and every week they blow me away. They get me more pumped up for Star Wars. They're just a good group of people. And if you haven't checked them out, go ahead and check them out. If you're a big Star Wars fan, go ahead and download the podcast app on iTunes and follow Far, Far Away every Tuesday. It is absolutely incredible. Christian's hilarious. Tiffany Smith is incredible, and Ken Knapsack is just awesome. So go ahead and check that out. Getting right into the movie review. 9 o'clock, I finally turned in my application to the movie theater. Getting my car. I mean, I have a car, but I'm getting my license in a few days. I'm pretty pumped up. So turn in an application, finally get a job, and make that cash flow. So I did that before I got in line to the theater, and I'm pretty excited, pretty nervous. Hopefully they call me back. And if it doesn't work out there, then I go find somewhere else. But turn my application in. Got dressed up, knew I was going out. I told my mom, I was like, you know what? I need a ride there because I can't drive by myself yet. So I was like, I'll buy your ticket. I'll buy your food if you take me. And she was totally down with it. So me and my mom have finally been to a movie. I'm 18 now. We finally go to a movie by ourselves, and it's Transformers. And we're in line, and it's the amazingness of waiting in line, just the excitement on people's faces. And first and foremost about Transformers, like, I'm a huge supporter of the Transformers movies. I love them. Almost every single one. The second one is the weakest link by far. It's extremely boring. The third one is my favorite, well, my second favorite one now. And then the first one is just about on the same level as the third one. But Transformers Age of Extinction was pretty great. I really liked it. It was definitely a new direction from the original three Transformers. And I like it. I like it a lot. Now, Michael Bay hasn't been too keen on stories in his Transformer films. But in Transformers Age of Extinction, he does a great job. Now, of course, it's obviously not him, but it's his direction of the film and it's his vision. But the scriptwriter and the screenplay, they get a lot of credit too. The direction that they went was a lot more dark and was surprising. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, yeah, it had a lot of humor. It is the most humor I've ever seen in a Transformers film. But it wasn't as annoying and as it was a little bit more fresh. The jokes were great. And Michael Bay, CGI specialist. I mean, he knows what he wants CGI and not CGI. There were a few moments in the film that took me out of it. Like, I was like, they are so pasted into that CGI scene, especially on the ropes when they're getting off lockdown ship. I mean, it was kind of just like, I didn't really like it. It looked like copy and pasted. It was a little frustrating, but I mean, it didn't completely take me out of the film, but it was definitely a downside to the film. Absolutely. Another downside to the film, because I really want to start negative and then go positive. Another downside to the film was the length. Now, I love long movies. I absolutely love them. I love the Lord of the Rings movies. I love all the Hobbit movies so far. And those movies are generally like 2 hours and 50 minutes, 3 hours. And if you have the extended edition of Lord of the Rings, like I have in the background, as you can see on my shelf, they're about 3 hours and like 10 minutes. 3 hours and 15, 3 hours and 20 minutes almost. But Transformers Age of Extinction is 2 hours and 45 minutes. Just about 20 minutes longer than the original 3 Transformers films. This movie felt like 4 hours long. It felt ages long. Now, I'm so big on long movies. I absolutely love long movies because the longer the film, the better. But this movie was very slow paced, and there were very, 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 very little scenes. And at one point, you're like, okay, here's where the movie's going to end. It doesn't end. Here's where the movie's going to end. It doesn't end. Now, every movie isn't perfect. But it was such an issue because I wish I would have left us on a cliffhanger with lockdown and a ship finally coming back to Hong Kong, and that the movie just ends, okay? But they didn't do that. It kept dragging and dragging and dragging. Now, I loved it. I loved it. The action scenes and everything. But I had to take a piss. Now, I went pee right before the movie started, but like 10 minutes in, I sat there for like 2 hours and 45 minutes, just kind of like, I can hold it, I'm okay. But I was like, God, is this movie ever going to end? And this guy, 2 seats down from me, he's like, whispers to his friend, he's like, how long is this movie? It feels like 4 hours. And he pulls out his phone, and I went to the 9 o'clock showing, and it was only 11:11. I was like, we still have another 34 minutes left in this movie. So it just felt ages long. And once I got to Hong Kong, it was like at the 2 hour mark, but it was so slow paced. Took so long. Now, it kind of works. Because with the Michael Bay films, Michael Bay Transformer films, we never really get a story. Like, it's kind of just like mindless explosive action that people would say, but I personally like it. I personally have a good time with the films. I love them. Of course, they're not the greatest films of all time, but I enjoy them. And it's the best part about a movie, is you enjoying them. So, but it just drags and drags and drags. It was like, oh my God, I kind of want this to end, but then again, I don't want it to end because I want to see more and more and more. What other negatives do I have in the film? The Lucas character, kind of, like, it was frustrating because they're in this high, intense, like, car chase, and, like, things are super pumped and excited and everything. All of a sudden, you got these, like, little one-liners from him constantly. Some of them were really funny. Like, the alcohol scene was really funny. He's like, this is as far as it goes? Is that the whole catch? And that was really funny. The hitting the head with a 10-foot cannon thing was really funny. He had some funny lines, but sometimes it was like, it's too much. Mark Wahlberg, his lines were hilarious. I loved every single one of Mark Wahlberg's lines. Slightly biased because he is my favorite actor. Nicola Peltz she was okay. She wasn't the greatest. But she did a pretty good job as, pretty much unknown actress. And then I forget the name of her boyfriend, but he was pretty good. When he first showed up, I was like, wow, this guy's pretty good. And then there were a few lines I was like, that's not really okay. Stanley Tucci is phenomenal. He had this one line in the movie where they're behind these old Chinese ladies, and he's carrying the seed, the thing that just completely wipes out everybody. And he's carrying the seed, and he's like, how the F do you say get out of... how... In Chinese, what do you say, like, how to get the F out of the way? And I was laughing. Everyone was laughing. It was hilarious, because I wasn't expecting it. What other negatives were... There were some lines from him I didn't really like, and that little love story between him and his, like, intern... Not his intern, but his, like, secretary. And I was like, forget it. The love story between Tessa and Shane... were really good. I actually kind of liked it. It was a lot more realistic, I think, especially with like how it works with Mark Wahlberg's like character and him being an only father and his daughter. He's got to protect her, blah blah blah. And the whole protecting his daughter thing is another issue. It's constantly like he could have said it like maybe twice, once at the beginning of the film, once at the end, maybe 3 times for each act of the film: the first act, the second act, and the second act, and the third act. But it was like 500 times he's like, "I'm here to protect my daughter. I need to protect my daughter. I need to protect my daughter." I didn't, like I said, it doesn't take me out of the film, but it was frustrating. It was just frustrating. It was like, okay, we get it. You want to protect your daughter. I mean, then again, in real life, if I had a daughter, and I was in that situation, I'd be saying the same thing over and over and over again to her boyfriend that I hate. So there was another negative. The length, a few lines from Lucas. There weren't too many negatives. I really enjoyed this film. I had a really good time. Moving back to positives, the positives I would say trump the negatives. The positives, there's so many positives, I enjoyed everything. Just to start with the actors and the actresses. Mark Wahlberg is perfect for this type of role. His timing with comedy is so well done. We saw that in Ted. He did a phenomenal job with the comedy. His action with the alien gun, I forgot the name of it, but was so awesome. He was so badass, and Lockdown's trying to take him down, and dude's ripped. I'm being honest, God, seriously. Mark Wahlberg, he's got some guns. This dude can do anything he wants. I mean, he's a ripped dude. Like I said, Nicola Peltz was okay. She was fairly well. Now for someone my age, that's 18. It's pretty good eye candy. Not gonna lie. Then I forgot the actor's name who played Shane, but he was okay for a little while. Lucas, he was funny at moments, but there's some downside, as I told you before, and then he eventually dies, and I didn't feel emotionally attached to the character, but I kind of seen it coming. It was kind of just like that. Once I knew that he dropped that seed, Lockdown, I pretty much knew the character was going to die. One of the most epic moments in the trailer is when they're escaping from the barn, and Shane first shows up, and he goes over the hill, and the tire catches this dude's face. Awesome moment. Awesome moment. Now, a lot of people have an issue with the slow-mo. I fairly enjoyed the slow-mo moments. I feel as if it captured more of the essence of the film in a way. I feel as if it's kind of showed a little bit more emotion out of the characters, especially when Tessa got caught and Mark Wahlberg is slow-mo pounding the ground. And the angles, oh my god. Progressively through each Transformers films, the angles got increasingly better. Increasingly better. Now, the first one was a little JJ syndrome with the lens flare. The second one was improved, but the second one wasn't very good. And the third one was phenomenal. But the fourth one stepped it up with the camera angles. And camera angles are a big deal to me because camera angles really capture, like, the moment. Excuse me. Wow. The camera angles really capture the moment for me. And he did a really damn good job of that. I loved it. I loved every single one. You got the sun in the background. You've got Optimus Prime flying off in like 2 moons looking sequence from Star Wars with the red sun. It looked really cool. But I don't know where I was going. I completely lost train of thought ever since I lost my breath there for a second. But the action was so good. So good. So good. Love it. I love the action. The action has increased in every single film. A lot of people have the negative as like the big battle at the end of the movie, not on the same scale as the third one, but you can't really like compare. Like, yeah, they're basically still in Chicago, but then they go to Hong Kong. But I mean, that was the third one. The third one was just devastating. It was brutal. But the fourth one, Transformers: Age of Extinction, it was still pretty crazy. I mean, you've got Lockdown ship just coming over, just like the World Machine from Man of Steel. It's picking things up with metal and just crashing to the ground. Picking things up, crashing to the ground. Epic moment. They got the seed. If the seed gets crashed, the whole explodes, everything. And actually, it was unpredictable. You didn't really predict anything. Now, in the end, you could have kind of predicted that all the heroes are going to make it out alive. But I kind of didn't feel that. I felt a little bit more like, oh, yeah, they're probably still going to make it, but I don't know. Things could change. It could surprise me. But, you know, everyone ends up living in the end, blah, blah, blah. But I still kind of felt this, like, motion of, like, oh, my goodness, Cade could die. Or Tessa could die. Or Shane could die. Or Stanley Tucci's character could die. But it was just unpredictable. It was very unpredictable. I mean, the third act, couldn't really predict anything at all. I really didn't. I really enjoyed that. When you can predict a movie like, per se, Avengers, like, you can predict everything. Oh, everyone will be okay. I feel no threat. But after Ironhide dying in the third one, which is a huge twist in Transformers 3 Dark of the Moon, Transformers Dark of the Moon, did not see Ironhide dying at all. So that was like a huge twist, and I was kind of expecting another twist in this film, but that didn't necessarily happen. I wish Lockdown stayed alive. That would have been great because he was an awesome villain. And I think as the films have gotten further and further, not counting the second one, Michael Bay has done his villains very well. The first one, Megatron, was obviously the villain. He was fairly well done. Second one, The Fallen, didn't really give a damn about The Fallen. And then the third one, Sentinel Prime, was a very well done villain. But the Lockdown villain, great. Even better than Lockdown. Second best highlight of the film had to be Kelsey Grammer's character. Stunning, absolutely stunning performance, because he's got this overpowering, like, menacing man voice, right? And he's just threatening people, and he's got this awesome, like, he could have been a Transformer. I wish he would have been a Transformer. That would have been super awesome, but obviously that didn't happen. But he has a super menacing tone, and he needs to play villains more. Absolutely phenomenal job by Kelsey Grammer. 5 thumbs up. It was a great performance by Kelsey Grammer. The Dinobots were the highlight of the film to me. They absolutely were. Now, as someone who had watched the Transformers 80 cartoons binge watching thanks to Netflix, I watched all the Transformers cartoons before I went to go see Age of Extinction. And guess what? I don't care that Grimlock and the Dinobots didn't talk. Like, it creates a story arc over the next few films of them slowly talking more because they were frozen in time for so long. Like, and then they were stuck in this ship, and they were in Lockdown ship, but they were frozen thanks to the seed. And who cares? They can't just automatically have powers or talking right away. They've got to learn it. Same thing with Man of Steel. When he crashed into the mountain, I mean, he wasn't in full control of what he could do yet. He didn't know his potential. He didn't know his ceiling. So I think that it's totally fine with me. I love the Transformers cartoons, but I'm the guy. I'm that guy. You can stray from source material. It's completely okay. If it fits the story, it's whatever. It's fine, okay? It might not fit for you, but that's because you're not as open-minded as someone like me. Because if it fits the story, I'm okay. It's alright. Let it go. It doesn't. You don't know their big plan. You don't know what's gonna happen. So them not talking is no big deal. And what I absolutely love is that the Dinobots are originally not okay with being a part of the Autobots and helping. And I love that. And it was a part of the cartoon as well. And people were like, oh, they're not friends with the Autobots. It's totally fake. Why is Grimlock a horse? It's like, if it fits the story, it's okay. And seeing them fight was awesome. Seeing Grimlock and Optimus Prime fight was so awesome. It was cool. And then all of a sudden charging into him, crashing to the ground, getting onto him, and riding off. Badass moment. Optimus Prime is one of those heroes where you just want to cheer and cheer and cheer on. And then have him on Grimlock's back. And the Dinobots were the highlight of the film. Because they were like a tag team. Because you would see the Triceratops running. I don't know their official names. I'm sorry, it's completely like out of my mind. You see the Dinobots running, and you see the Triceratops hit this Decepticon into the air, and then Grimlock grabs him, bites him, throws him in the air, and then the Pterodactyl grabs, or whoever it is, Swoop, grabs him and like rips him apart. And it's so awesome because it's like a tag team moment, and then Optimus Prime jumps off, slashes with the sword, and epic moment. Epic moment. The last 25 minutes of that movie is completely epic. It's just the grand scale of it, and the Dinobots. The Dinobots were so damn good. So damn good. Yeah, people are like, oh, they didn't transform enough. There are still 2 more Transformers movies to go. Relax. If you wanted them to transform more and have a bigger story arc, you would have had a 3-hour and 20-minute movie, and we definitely don't want that. Alright? Another huge positive would have to be Stanley Tucci's lines. He was funny. He was great. He was a great anti-hero. He was awesome. I really enjoyed his character. I believe it's Lin Bingbing or Fan Bingbing as the secretary to Stanley Tucci's character. And she was awesome. She was a great character, and she deserves a lot of praise and a lot of attention for her role. She did a great job. She really took over. She was definitely one of the highlights towards the end of the film. What else? Mark Wahlberg is just a beast. Him, the moment that had me kind of like, is Cade Yeager going to make it out alive? Mark Wahlberg's character, is he going to make it out alive? Is when he goes back to help Optimus, and Optimus has a sword in his chest, and he's shooting with this alien gun. Badass, by the way, just on his shoulders, shooting at him. And he's fighting him, and he pushes down on Mark Wahlberg, and he's got the sword, and he's pushing him off, and epic moment. It was a great moment. And I was like, God, he could actually die. And Optimus Prime is sitting there trying to pull this huge sword out of his chest, and he's like, this is my war, you're not supposed to help. And I was like, oh my God, someone's about to die, but no one ended up dying. But it was like, I'm still on the edge of my seat, like, if this happens, I'm going to be like, wow, I did not expect that at all, like 25, 40 minutes ago. So, the edge of the seat, that scene with Lockdown was great. And then to have him, let's see, Tesla's character hooks it onto the sword, Shane drives off, pulls the sword out, Optimus gets in the air, grabs it, turns around, puts it through Lockdown and rips it. That's an Optimus Prime moment, ladies and gentlemen. That is an Optimus Prime moment. It was a great moment. I love that moment. It was one of the highlights of the film for sure. Another great moment, another great moment would have to be Galvatron, because the story around Galvatron was perfect. Perfect. I loved it. I was intrigued. I was interested, and I loved it. And Stingray, that moment was okay. It wasn't like Bumblebee kind of got dumbed down a little bit, and I feel bad because Bumblebee is definitely one of my favorite Transformers by far. But I feel he got dumbed down a little bit because he was trying to act like a punk and like someone super different, and it's like I didn't feel like Bumblebee to me. So I guess that could be another negative. But Stingray was really cool, and the transform thing, mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing, and it was awesome because you've got Bumblebee, he leans over the bridge and he shoots the missiles, and all of a sudden Galvatron's about to get hit, but he transforms, and he's awesome. Love the Transformium. That was beautiful storytelling with the Transformium. I loved it. It's definitely going to be a huge, absolutely huge story arc heading into Transformers 5. So I've pretty much gotten through all my positives, the action, the CGI, the effects. And back to explosions. Yeah, just in case you guys didn't know, if two or multiple or very many alien robots were to like fight each other with cannons and lasers and stuff like that, and like super big guns, I just thought I'd let you know there'd be lots of explosions and lots of like crashes and buildings falling down because they're very big alien robots with cannons, so that would happen. Just thought I'd let you guys know that in case you didn't know there. I mean, if you wanted Frolicking in the Meadows, you can go ahead and watch like Singing in the Rain or Wizard of Oz, something, I don't know. But yeah, definitely explosions if there's robots for sure. I'm kind of upset that Kelsey Grammer's character died because he was a huge plus in the film. Absolutely loved it. And the way he died was actually pretty cool, but I would expect Mark Wahlberg to get blown away by an explosion like 10 feet in front of his face, but who cares? It's a movie. It was pretty cool. So pretty much the verdict, I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. It's definitely my favorite Transformers movie by far. I watched all 3 movies in a row the other day, and definitely I love them. I like them. I like them a lot. They're not like the greatest films I've ever seen, but is this like the 3rd or 4th best film I've seen out of the year? Absolutely. If I could rank the movies I've seen so far this year, it'd be X-Men Days of Future Past, Captain America Winter Soldier, probably Edge of Tomorrow, and then Transformers. I don't know, I haven't made up my mind yet. I really loved Edge of Tomorrow, and Transformers was really well done. I really, really liked it. So I give Transformers an 8.3 out of 10. Now, I do a little bit of IMDb myself, so 8.3 out of 10 for sure. Now, if you want to go into this film, go open-minded. If you're a huge fan of the films, huge fan of the cartoons and the comics, go open-minded. Why? Because not everything has to follow source material, ladies and gentlemen. Because in some instances, it has to. Because if you if you went to Harry Potter and you made the Scar as a Horcrux basically didn't exist, that's different. It's a huge effect on the story. But by little subtle changes, by not making Dinobots talk, should not make you upset. Who says they won't speak in the next one? Or the next one? Or making changes as like, why doesn't a certain character look the same? Who cares? It's still that character. It's still Lockdown. It's still Optimus Prime. Why should little things ruin source material for life? You grew up with it. So did I. Now, I was born in 1996. I didn't have the 80s cartoons. But guess what? When I was 2, Transformers. TMNT. Transformers. Superheroes. I was a nerd at a young age. And does it take it away from me? No. Because source material, if I want to hear the same story over and over and over and over again, I watch the same episode. Or I read the same comic book. Or I read the same story arc. I go back and go back to it. But guess what? After a while, you get bored of it. And if they were to take a certain story arc or certain characters and put them on screen, you'd be like, I've seen this before. Big deal. Like, nothing special here. No new storytelling. But guess what? When you go see a film, and that's why films differentiate. Film is for the general movie-going audience. Not people like me. Not the nerds. We get nods. We get nods like, here's a nod to a certain character. Here's a cameo. That's what we get. We're not going to get the official names. We're going to move this to here. It's like, who cares? I don't want to hear the same story over and over and over again, get refurnished. It's like, I get bored. I'll get bored. And to see a film have a new story and a new take and a new look and a director's vision is okay with me. I'm 18 years old. I know a lot of things behind the scenes. I know a lot of things about film. And I think that's what differentiates me from others. And I don't really want to get into this video. I could save it for another rant video. But it's okay to stray from source material, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't have to. Why would you want to see the same thing over and over again? It doesn't take away your childhood. Guarantee it. Big deal. Some subtle changes. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have nostrils. My childhood's ruined. No, it's not. Shut up. No, it's not. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and click that like button. Turn that gray like button green. Green is such a phenomenal color. And if you completely hated the video and you hated Transformers, actually, hang on. If you hated the video, go ahead and hit that dislike button. I really wouldn't like you to, but if you love the video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you hated it, hit that dislike button. That's your opinion, not mine. I cannot tell you what to do. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because I've been uploading a lot lately. I've been talking more football, talking more movies, and I might be doing a little source material video later on, a few predictions for certain movies coming out in the future, Avengers and Batman v Superman. And go ahead and hit that share button to get the word around about me doing YouTube videos, because it is a big part of my life. I love doing these. This is for you, not for me. Go ahead, leave down in the comments below what you thought of Transformers Age of Extinction out of 10. You can go ahead and do some IMDb scores like 6.2, 6.1, 7.9, 6.4 thousand. I don't know, whatever. I enjoyed Transformers Age of Extinction. It's my favorite one by far. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Have a great evening. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. Peace.